Insert dog face here. Now, if you know my history on YouTube, you know there's 3 days I rarely do videos on. And that's Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Probably 85 to 90% of the videos I've done have been on either Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday. I rarely do videos on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. I think of those 3 days, I think the most I've done a few videos on Friday mornings. I don't think I've ever done a video on a Friday evening. I've done a few videos on a Friday morning. Second would be I've done a few videos on Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. Probably my least of those 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sundays, is Saturdays. I think this is literally only the second, no more than the third time I've ever done a video on a Saturday, starting with beginning of April of 2017. So a little less than a year ago. Yeah, this is only the second, no more than the third time I've ever done a video on a Saturday. I'll say this. Here's, I guess, the good thing. My last 4 videos have sparked a lot of discussion, both publicly and privately. Yeah, sparking a lot of discussion. I had a couple people criticize me, kind of compliment me and criticize me, because some guys said, hey man, your last 4 videos could have been like a webinar for you to make money. I don't know why you're doing this shit for free, dude. That could have been straight up seriously like a webinar, because you cluing guys in to understanding women who just might be just too naive or too delusional to understand women. Yeah, at least one person wrote me, said, Alan, I know you like to focus on seduction, but how come you haven't written a book where you just lay out to men how to understand women? Insert dog face here. What do you think? Number one, what do you think all of my books are about? If you're saying that I haven't written one book that just solely centers around helping men understand women. All of my books, to one degree or another, about understanding women. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? All of my books. Possibility of sex? Who said again? Beta male revolution? And even Mole 1. I mean, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? Now, the 2 videos that my last 4 videos have made me reference quite a bit is, I've mentioned this a few times, probably the number 1 video that I did that relates to my last 4 videos, that was one of the first videos that provoked a lot of discussion among my listeners and viewers, was my video I did on May 11th of 2017 called The Myth of the Prudish and Monogamy-Oriented Good Girl. Matter of fact, that's one of my most highly viewed videos I've done in terms of views. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. I had just under 21,000 views for that video. Yeah, I had just under 21,000, which would make that my 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's my 5th most viewed video of all the video podcasts I've done since April of 2017. Is my video called The Myth of the Prudish and Monogamy-Oriented Good Girl. In terms of just views, my most viewed video is a video that's used to be free, but now it's Patreon exclusive. It was done in April of 2017. It's called Beta Males. Well, this actually relates to my last 4 videos. I'm just thinking about the title. This relates to my last 4 videos. Yeah, my most viewed video is a video I did called Beta Males Do Not Understand the True Nature of Women. Part 2. I guess I did a 2-part series. This was part 2. That video had almost 33,000 views. And it had over 2,000 likes. Man, that's rare. I get that many likes. I had almost 33,000 views for that video. And I had 2,000, just over 2,000 likes for that video. Yeah, that's my most viewed video to date. That was done on April 12th of 2017. Again, that was a free video, but I made, there's a lot of videos that used to be free that I made a Patreon exclusive video. Matter of fact, I might do that to my last 4 videos, to be honestly truthful. I don't know how soon I'm going to do it, but there's at least a 50% chance that either some of my last 4 videos or all of them, at some point, I'm gonna take them off from being a free video and make them a Patreon exclusive. But yeah, that's what this video was. It's now a Patreon exclusive. But that's my most viewed video. Again, my most viewed video to date is Beta Males Do Not Understand the True Nature of Women, Part 2 of 2, which again relates to my last 4 videos. My second most viewed video is also a video that used to be free, now it's Patreon exclusive. It's called MGTOW Men versus Hardline Alpha Males versus Eternal Bachelors. That video has just under 29,000 views. That was done on August 2nd of 2017. Had over 200 comments in the comment section. My third most viewed video is Respectful Disagreements and Subjective Truth versus Objective Truth. Respectful Disagreements and Subjective Truth versus Objective Truth. That has just over 22,000 views. That was done on August 10th of 2017. That's still a free video. That video is still free, actually. So if my free videos that are still free, that's my most viewed video. Fourth, and this indirectly relates to my last 4 videos. My fourth most viewed video I did on May 19th of 2017 is called Women Always Hide Their True Sexual Nature from Beta Males. Women always hide their true sexual nature from beta males. That has just under 22,000 views and had 615 likes, only had about 100 comments. Again, that's a video that used to also be free, but now it's a Patreon exclusive. And once again, my fifth video, most viewed video, is The Myth of the Prudish and Monogamy-Oriented Good Girl. Right underneath that is my sixth most viewed video. Is a video that's free. It has my most highest number of comments and reply comments in the comment section. And that's Face the Facts, Women Are Winning the So-Called Gender War. Face the Facts, Women Are Winning the So-Called Gender War. That has just under 18,000 views, and it has to date 756 comments and reply comments in the comment section. That's the most of any video I've done. Damn, even my addendum to The Myth of the Prudish and Monogamy-Oriented Good Girl has a lot of views. It's a private video now. It's a Patreon exclusive video. But I did an addendum to that video, and it has 17,500 views and over 600 likes. Anyway, I always like to say the disclaimer. Most of you all who listen to my videos and view my videos, listen to them carefully. You get what I'm saying. Some of you got it even before you listened to me. You like, because of your experiences, or because you listened to a previous video of mine, or you had somebody else who bestowed some knowledge and wisdom on you, you already knew what was up. And you basically made a comment about that in the comment section. Some of you didn't know a lot of the stuff I said, and you were sitting there like, damn, I didn't know that. Now I know. And you gave me kudos for my videos, my last 4 videos, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate you guys. So anybody who gives me love, respect, and support, I appreciate you. I love you to death. Now, some people have criticized me for addressing the small minority of, a small percentage of critics and haters I tend to receive. But if nothing else, and I've said this before, if nothing else, it at least gives me reason to give you a free video. Because as I've said in a few of my previous videos, if I didn't have any haters or critics, like I never had anybody who gave me any type of harsh disagreements with stuff I say, there would be probably a 95 to 99% chance I wouldn't do any free videos. I would just do Patreon exclusive videos. I really would. And I've said that in a few previous videos. Yeah, if I didn't have any haters, any critics, anybody who provided me with just really harsh disagreements to the stuff I say, yeah, that's when I would pretty much lose my motivation to do free videos. So you can say the upside of me having haters and critics is that's what provokes me to do a lot of my free videos. Because otherwise I would just do Patreon exclusive videos. Now, I did a video called Women Will Never Be the Same as They Were Before the 1960s. And I had at least one fellow black male YouTube host, I'll say his name, BGS Itmore, who did a response video to that. And he didn't criticize me on a personal level, but he did have a criticism. He felt like that video was too abbreviated and too micro-oriented, too psychology-oriented, as opposed to more macro/sociology-oriented. And I basically did a response to his response. And I think this caused him to get a little, for lack of a better word, sensitive, because I heard some comments he made later. He kind of felt like I attacked him, and I didn't. I didn't attack him. But what I did basically say that he perceived as a jab is when he did a response to that video, I said that I'm not going to do like a 2 or 3 hour video on a lot of this subject matter, among other reasons, because I'm not trying to present myself as a credentialed sociologist. I said I don't have a PhD in sociology, and I added a further comment. I said, and as far as I know, neither does he. Because, you know, BGS, if you're familiar with him and his channel, he covers just about a lot of sociological related content. I mean, honestly, to give him a compliment, if you didn't know any better, you probably would think he had a PhD in sociology, because he does know how to intelligently comment on and analyze and present a lot of content that relates to the sociological implications and impact of this action or that factor or this incident or that behavior. But as far as I know, he doesn't have a PhD. And I would say the same thing, and I said the same thing about myself, though. Like, just like I would say BGS is very intelligent and well-read when it comes to content related to the field of sociology, I'm very intelligent and well-read when it comes to content related to psychology, and to a lesser extent sociology. But, like, if I had to toot my horn, I've gotten compliments from people who have PhD credentials in psychology. Like one in particular, I remember I had this one guy, he was a psychotherapist from Switzerland. And he said when he first heard some male friends of his talk about my book, Mode 1, he said, he admitted, he immediately said, oh, that's bullshit. Who is this Alan Roger Currie guy? He's not no credentialed, psychiatrist or psychologist or psychotherapist or marriage therapist. What does he know about men and women and dating and relationships? This guy is just somebody who wrote a self-help book without any credentials. And then he wrote me this long-ass email where he apologized. He said, Alan, in so many words, I'm paraphrasing, he said, when I first heard about your book, Mode 1, I dogged it out. Mainly because of you, because I didn't feel like you had any legitimate credentials, such as a master's degree or PhD in psychology. But he said, once I read your book, I was like, damn, his book is solid. And he ended up sending me money. Because he said he had gotten my book for free, which he realized was unethical. Because he didn't buy my book. He got on the internet, one of those free PDF versions of Mode 1. But he ended up sending me like $200 to somewhere between $200, $250. I'm sending me money. But I've done that a lot, man. I've had a few incidences like that. Not only from credentialed psychiatrists, but just other people, like even close friends of mine. Like I know a guy I grew up in my hometown. He said that, man. He said, Alan, man, we were walking around the beach one day, and we happened to run into each other. And he said, Alan, man, when I first heard about your book, man, I was like, man, Alan Roger Currie is my boy, but man, who is he to write a book? Who is he to write a book? He said, man, but then I sat down and read your book, Mode 1. He said, man, dude, that book was the shit, man. He said, so I'm going to apologize to you for being a hater, man. That book was the shit. And then one other thing I'll throw into that category is, I mentioned this in a few previous videos, I had some pimps that were like that with me. One was in Los Angeles and was friend of a guy I know, and two were in New York and they were friend of a guy I knew. And they had initially dogged me out on my books, and particularly Mode 1, until they actually read them. And then they basically told my friends, they said, no, Alan Roger Currie know what he fucking talking about. And so one of the reasons I was prompted to do this Saturday video is the respond. I don't mind disagreements, so I don't want anybody to think that I can't handle people disagreeing with me. If you disagree with me, and particularly if you disagree with me and you support and substantiate your reasons for why you disagree with me, I don't have a problem with that. We can, if I'm willing to do it, I'll engage in an intellectual debate with you. But here's what I don't like, and y'all know this from my previous videos from 2017. What insults me, don't ever come at me like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Okay? Again, that's only a small percentage, you all. But I've had some people both publicly and privately come at me like I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, like I'm talking out my ass. And that's insulting to me, man. See, one of the reasons why I did that video called The Myth of the Prudish and Monogamy-Oriented Good Girl, I'm not going to rehash the video, but I'll give you the gist of it. The main premise of that video, and this also relates to my video about women will not be the same as they were before the 1960s. And also relates to those two other videos I mentioned about women hide their true sexual nature from beta males, and beta males don't understand the true nature of women. What I basically told a lot of you men, and since I mentioned beta males, I'll say particularly beta male types. And here's what I will say contributes to this. Here's what, in your personal defense, what I will say contributes to this is the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry. The entertainment industry produces television shows and movies that make you think women's default nature is to be strictly monogamy oriented. And that women who are highly promiscuous are the anomaly, are the exceptions to the rule. And that's what recently, what some of you all have been coming to me trying to argue, that women need, Alan, you don't know what you're talking about. Some people have thrown in organized religion into their arguments, trying to suggest that God made women monogamy oriented, and women, and it's the women who are fucked up. Something's fucked up with their head, or they had a challenging childhood. Something caused them to become those women who are highly promiscuous. Something happened fucked up in their life to make them be promiscuous. But the regular woman, the regular healthy, well-adjusted woman is strictly monogamy oriented. Insert dog face here. Because of you're that small percentage of people who y'all saying that, again, that lets me know. Oh, another thing that y'all must think I'm stupid. I'm social media savvy. Okay, I've been doing social media like since at least 2001, if not slightly before that. I've been doing like message boards and stuff like that since at least. No, actually before that, I used to be in the video games and screenwriting message boards in the late 90s. Like I used to go to EA Sports related message boards and screenwriting and filmmaking related message boards as far back as 1998, 99, 2000. So yeah, technically I would say 1998 was actually when I first discovered internet message boards. And I really started, as far as dating and relationship oriented message boards, I started doing that in either 2001 or 2002. Anyway, I don't want to go on a long segue about that, but here's the thing. For you anonymous users or semi-anonymous users, I know when a man is pretending to be a female user, and I generally know when a woman is pretending to be a male user. I might be off here and there, but I say at least 90% of the time, I know when a man is posting in my comment section pretending to be a woman, and when a woman is pretending to be a man. And I would say, really over the since I started doing videos, but particularly in my last 4 videos, some of y'all are not y'all real self. I know you're not. I know there's at least 2 or 3 men that are pretending to post as women, and there is 2 or 3 women who are pretending to post as men. I'm telling you, man, I'm social savvy. I know that. Like, I'll tell you one of the ways I usually can out a man pretending to post as a woman is one of the things I do is I ask them about my podcast show, The Erotic Conversationalist. That's what I do. Anytime I suspect that a man is posting as a woman, I'll say, hey, have you ever listened to my adults only podcast program, The Erotic Conversationalist? Usually, if it's really a woman posting, she will either say, yes, I'm familiar with your show, and yes, I've listened to it. Or she might say, yes, I'm familiar with the show, but I haven't listened to it yet. Or they're going to say, no, I'm not familiar with it. Tell me more about it. One of those 3. They're either going to tell me they're familiar with it and they've listened to it. They're familiar with it, but they haven't listened to it yet. Or they're not familiar with it. Please tell me more about it. Those are the genuine women who post in my comment section. If it's a man pretending to be a woman, and I ask them, I say, hey, have you ever listened to any episodes from my adults only podcast program, The Erotic Conversations? They don't say shit. They don't say shit. They don't say shit. They don't say, yes, I have. They don't say, no, I haven't. They just don't respond, period. That usually lets me know that 99% chance that's a man pretending to be a female. That's a man pretending to be a female. Because a real woman, even if she says she just totally not interested in listening to any episodes of the Right Conversation, she's going to say that. She's going to say, no, that don't sound like it's my type of show. I don't want to listen to that. She's going to give me some type of response. But the ones who don't give me any response at all, positive or negative, I ain't going to say 100% for sure that means it's a male posing a woman. I would say probably 98, 99% chance. That's a man pretending to be a female poster. And as far as women pretending to be men, I can just tell by the shit they say. You either one or two. Some of you posters, y'all either a woman pretending to post as a man, or y'all like some of the biggest pro-feminism white knight type motherfuckers I've ever come across. There's one of the two. Yeah, some of you all who post, y'all either are women pretending to be men, or if y'all are genuinely men, y'all some of the most pro-feminism white, what's known as a white knight type. What is a white knight type? Is a guy that just pretty much always defends women, never says anything remotely critical about them, even when they deserve to be criticized, he's going to take up for them. That's a white knight. I actually had a couple of guys on one of my videos last year accused me of being a white knight. But anybody knows who really knows me knows I'm the furthest thing from a white knight. I'm the furthest thing from a white knight. Shit. When women deserve to be criticized, shit, my biggest evidence of not being a white knight is simply my book, The Possibility of Sex. If I was a white knight, I would have never wrote that book among my other books. I would have never wrote The Possibility of Sex. No white knight type motherfucker gonna write a book like The Possibility of Sex. Here's what I want to simply say to you. Here's what I want to simply say. And I'm going to try to keep this under an hour. I didn't want it to be more than 45 minutes, but it probably will be. But here's just some simple questions I'm going to ask you. Some simple questions. Simple questions. This is for who am I? First of all, who am I addressing right now? I'm addressing anybody who believes that women's default nature is to be strictly monogamy oriented, and women who are highly promiscuous and or polyamorous are the exceptions or the anomalies. That's who I'm addressing. So if you're not in that category, then I'm not really addressing you. You can still listen and be entertained and or enlightened, but I'm not really talking to you. Right now, I'm specifically talking to those people who've watched my last 4 videos who've tried to present some variation of the argument that, Alan, you don't know what you're talking about. You're almost suggesting that all women are promiscuous, and that's simply not true. Here's first clarification. I would never say that all women are promiscuous, and I think I said that in my last video. I would never say that all women are promiscuous, but I would say, definitely say without hesitation, all women have the capability and the potential to give in to promiscuous inclinations and temptations. All women have the capability to give in. The only thing that's going to stop them is their social programming. And I say that in my books. Particularly Who Say It Again. And to a lesser extent, the Beta Male Revolution. And that's a book I'm going to shamelessly promote in this video. A lot of y'all, based on your comments, y'all need to read my ebook version or listen to my audiobook version of the Beta Male Revolution. I would almost argue that that's my most underrated book. I consider that book a prequel to Mode 1, as opposed to a sequel to it. It's a prequel to Mode 1. Speaking of the person who said, Alan, you need to have just one book that just is about the basic understanding of women. Shit. If you read the Beta Male Revolution, if you don't read any of my other books, just the Beta Male Revolution to give you an understanding of why women are the way they are today. Here's an analogy I would give. You would never hear me say all human beings are homicidal creatures and murderous creatures. You would never hear me say that. I would never say all human beings are murderous creatures. But I would say this, all human beings are capable, if you put them in the right circumstances, or more appropriately, the wrong circumstances, all human beings are capable of giving in to their base nature, what's known as a person's base nature. I'll use myself as an example. And I think I talked about this in at least one video. I remember one particular video last summer I talked about this. I basically said that if y'all look at me on videos and listen to me on Blog Talk Radio, you think I'm generally like an easygoing guy. And I generally like to say that I'm not a person who endorses violence. I'm not really a violent-oriented person. But here's the video. I know I talked about this because I joked. I said my brother has pretty much always discouraged me and even prevented me from owning a gun. Because I've had moments in my life, yes, innocent, wholesome-looking Alan Roger Currie. I've had moments in my life where I was that close to killing a motherfucker. And I'm not even saying that lightheartedly. I was that close to killing him. I can name at least probably 2 or 3 times when I lived in Los Angeles. I had an ex-roommate, man. I was going to pick his ass up and throw him over the balcony. And again, I'm not even saying that lightheartedly. I was going to pick his ass up and throw him over the balcony. And you talk about divine intervention, which I do believe in. Right at that moment when I was just about to give in to my base nature to do that, my brother called. My brother called. And it's funny, it's weird. Me and my brother always talk about this. It's weird how when somebody knows you, they know when you're joking and when you're serious. Like, people don't really know you a lot of times. They don't know when you're joking and when you're serious. But when I told my brother, he said, man, your voice don't sound right. What's wrong? I said, I'm about to kill my roommate. Now, the average motherfucker would have said, oh, Allie, you crazy, man. You tripping, man. What you talking about? My brother knew immediately I was serious. He knew immediately. He didn't even say nothing like, oh, are you fucking with me? Or is this a joke? He immediately knew I was serious. I don't want to get into the long story of what led to me getting to that. He did something really fucked up that involved me losing a lot of money. But yeah, man, I was that close to picking that motherfucker up and throwing him over my fucking balcony. And again, I'm not a person who I haven't had that many violent incidences in my life. I've had very few. I always try to maintain control over my emotions when it comes to stuff that I think is going to lead to me wanting to give in to my violent nature. But anyway, I don't want to go on a long segue about violence, but I use that analogy to say that not every human being is violent and or murderous, but I would say any human being who would try to argue that only a small percentage of people are like that, I would say that person is naive and delusional. It's about what situations you've been put in. Remember my videos, man, last year where I said, man, at our core, we're animals, man. I hope y'all understand that. At our core, I mean in our real base core, man, we are fucking animals. We are highly sophisticated animals. Most of us are very intelligent animals. We're self-aware, as Stephen Covey talks about in his books. We're self-aware animals, meaning we can kind of, figuratively speaking, step out of ourselves and evaluate the strengths and weaknesses of our own behavior. Whereas most other animals don't have that type of self-awareness. We're highly developed, but still, the fact remains, man, at our core, man, we're animals, man. Now, going back to what I mentioned briefly about the entertainment industry misleads you. See, when I was growing up, I noticed most women hated porn. Most women hate porn. Now, in today's society, I know a lot of young women who say they love porn. They don't love it as much as erotica, but they like it. But most women, man, back in the day, man, you used to always hear women say, "Oh, why are you watching porn? I hate porn." Why you think women hated porn? Why you think they hated porn? Let's put it like this. Trust me, it wasn't because porn didn't have the potential to get their pussy wet. That definitely wasn't the reason. See, man, there's a lot of factions in society that will have you believe that the behavior you see portrayed of women in mainstream movies is more representative of their true nature, and the behavior you see portrayed in porno films is representative of an anomaly. But the reality is just the motherfucking opposite. The reality is just the motherfucking opposite. The behavior you see women exhibiting in most porn movies is actually more in line with their true nature than the behavior you see them exhibiting in a PG-13 movie produced by some big Hollywood studio. Now, people have been asking me, well, Alan, back in the if women were naturally promiscuous, then how come women were so restrained back in the early part of the 20th century, 1920s, 1930s, 1940s? Just about all women, you said yourself in one of your videos, most of the women back then were, monogamous with their husbands and whatnot. So how come all of a sudden things change? Why you think? And that lets me know, if you've been a person who asked me a question like that or gave me feedback like that, lets me know you haven't read my book or listened to my audiobook version of the Beta Male Revolution. Why you think that women were self-restrained and disciplined and basically kept their promiscuous tendencies in check, unlike most women today? When was the birth control pill introduced? When was the birth control pill introduced? Let me ask you this, particularly if you're a person who has problems with your weight. Like I'm a person who's been up and down with my weight over the years. If your inclination was to eat junk food, and they came up with a pill that said as long as you take this pill, you'll be able to eat any fucking food you want, and you'll never come down with heart disease, you'll never come down with type 2 diabetes, you'll never gain weight, you'll never have any type of health ailment whatsoever. You'll be able to remain good looking, you'll remain healthy as long as you take this pill. If they came out with that pill, would you still be eating nothing but fruits and vegetables? Insert dog face here. Come on, man. Would you? Would you still be eating nothing but strictly healthy food if you knew there was a pill that would allow you to eat whatever the fuck you wanted to eat without gaining any weight and without experiencing any type of health ailments or repercussions? Think about the times we lived in. Again, this goes back to my video, women will never be the same as they were before the 1960s. Think about how things were. That's the biggest thing. Number one, birth control wasn't as advanced as it is now. The main thing that held women back from giving in to their true sexual nature was the fear of an unexpected pregnancy. That's the number one thing. The fear of an unexpected pregnancy. Because 100 years ago, If a woman was to become pregnant, be outside the context of marriage, more than likely her own family was going to disown her ass. That's what kept my mother and her two sisters in line. My mother told me many times, as well as my two aunts, if they would have even thought about engaging in sex before they got married, my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, would have kicked them out the crib. He would have kicked them out the motherfucking crib. And most fathers back in that era were like that. I talk about that in the debate of my revolution. If you were to get pregnant outside the context of marriage, man, if you came from like a middle class, upper middle class family, man, you was gonna get kicked out the crib, man. No woman thought about defying her father like that. So that's the biggest thing that kept women in line, was the fear of an unexpected pregnancy. Because if you were to have a baby out of wedlock back in the day, and this is not just about black women either, this is about white, any race of woman. At least here in the United States, I ain't gonna speak for other countries and cultures. But you was gonna get disowned, man. You was gonna get disowned. And 99% chance you weren't gonna attract no husband. So that's the one fear that kept women in line. The fear of an unexpected pregnancy. That's why women would go as far as to engage in an illegal abortion, to prevent themselves from having a baby out of wedlock. There are a lot of women who would rather risk indulging in an illegal abortion than have a baby out of wedlock. And let's say you had a kid outside the context of marriage. Who the fuck was going to take care of it? Who the fuck was going to take care of that kid? Women didn't have the earning potential that they do now. That's why most fathers wanted their daughters to get married, man. Because if you are a father of a daughter, and I would say to a certain extent, this still applies today. If you're a father of a daughter, man, well, no, it can't apply today because women have all kinds of opportunities to make their own money. But see, back in the day, man, and I talk about this in the Beta Man Revolution. So that's why y'all need to pick up my book, The Beta Man Revolution. Women weren't able to earn their own money. So if, say, they had a kid out of wedlock, how are they going to take care of that kid themselves? How are they going to take care of that kid themselves? Most fathers would be like, I ain't going to take care of your kid that you got from somebody that wasn't your husband. But see, I was saying that's why most fathers wanted their daughters to get married, among other reasons, is they don't want to have to take care of an adult daughter for most of their life financially, unless that man was filthy rich. No man wanted to take care of an adult daughter. The attitude was, once you turn 18 and no later than 21, your ass need to be married so that you can have some man take care of you financially. As your father, I ain't going to take care of you until you 25, 35, 45. So that's one of the things that kept women from giving in to their it wasn't that those promiscuous tendencies weren't there. That's the main point I'm making. It wasn't like those promiscuous tendencies were not there. Again, if you refer back to my very last video, marriage and long-term monogamy, in the big scheme of things, is a fairly new concept. The first thing that existed on earth was polyamory and promiscuity, which essentially is long-term non-monogamous sex and short-term non-monogamous sex. That's the first thing that existed here on earth, is variations of polyamory and promiscuity. Do you know that even to this day, there's something, if you're familiar with the polyamory world, the world of polyamory, there's a concept known as the polyamorous family. What does that mean? That would be if you got, like, say, 3 men and 5 women living in a house together, and they all fucking each other. And if somebody happens to get pregnant, like say one of the women happens to get pregnant, all 3 of the men would contribute to raising that child and taking care of it. Well, guess what? Do you know hundreds of thousands of years ago, there were certain cultures that's how they operated? Like even in certain countries in Africa, that's how things went down. That's how things went down. They would have essentially polyamorous families where you might have had, say, 12 men and, I don't know, 18 women, and they all had sex with each other. And the men weren't worried about, damn, is that my son or is that my daughter? They would just all raise the kids as a group. They would just all raise the kids as a group. So for a lot of you all who are acting like you think monogamous marriage has been around since the beginning of time, you're wrong, man. Look in the Christian Bible, man. Solomon had what did he have? Like 500 wives and 300 concubines? Come on, man. Solomon's in the Bible and he was more of a pimp than probably any modern day pimp is, man. The dude had like let me look it up so I'm not misnumbering. I'm going to look this up for accuracy purposes. Solomon, see, I was wrong. I said 500 wives and 200 concubines. Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. Man, most of y'all motherfuckers today couldn't, man, y'all would turn to drugs if y'all had 700 wives and 300 concubines. Even the best form of Viagra wouldn't keep y'all from being stressed out if y'all had that type of shit. Now, most motherfuckers on earth today couldn't handle having 700 wives and 300 concubines. This motherfucker had 1,000 sexual lovers at his disposal. And y'all telling me that monogamous marriage been around since the beginning of time. First thing that was here as far as sexual relations between men and women was polyamory and promiscuity. Then later on, polygamy, which I talked about in a recent video. The two forms of polygamy, which is polyandry and polygyny. Monogamous marriage and the concept of long-term monogamy didn't come by until years later. I got a book on my bookcase by a woman named Stephanie Kuntz. Let me look at it. I forgot the title of her book now. Pick up this book. It's a good book. It's called Marriage, a History. Marriage, a History by Stephanie Kuntz. She basically, there's a few books out there that give you, variations of the history of marriage, but one of the best ones, if not the best one I read in recent years, was this book I'm talking about. Stephanie Kuntz. I'll put a link to her book in the comment section below. It's called Marriage, a History. How Love Conquered Marriage. And speaking of that subtitle, How Love Conquered Marriage, one of the things she argues, and I've talked about this in previous videos, she basically says in so many words that back in the day, man, the idea of true love, you always hear couples talk about true love. That wasn't the motivation initially for marriage. That wasn't the motivation for marriage, was this concept of an emotional bond or true love. Marriage was for practical reasons related to property, the transference of property, and paternity. Property and paternity were the two main motivating factors for marriage. It wasn't about no love and emotions and all that other bullshit you hear in TV shows and movies today. It was mainly about property and paternity. That was the main motivation for monogamous marriages. See, I mentioned that BGS said I wasn't as thorough from a sociological perspective when I talked about a lot of shit in that video. Hey man, I'm gonna just keep, I like to keep shit real, man. Most shit I don't hesitate to talk about, and I'm not afraid to talk about. But remember, if you got a really good memory, in one of my first videos, I'm talking about one of my first 5 videos, I was talking about truth. And I don't remember my exact words, but it's effective. I said, there's some truth you just don't want to share. For no other reason, because you don't want certain factions of this country or certain factions of the United States government to make you a fucking target. Because there's some truth. I mean, if you know your history about not only this country, but any country. Hey, man, I'm going to tell you something about truth tellers. And I take pride in telling the truth about shit. But there's some truth, man, you just can't tell because you'll end up dead. Period. You end up dead. And I'm not trying to be melodramatic. I'm just telling you what history has shown me. And I bring that up to say that, man, on this issue about monogamy, you got to think about why monogamy was created and why there's a big emphasis on monogamy in this country and most countries. Here's what you need to ask yourself. Think about, okay, I'll put it in simple terms for those guys familiar with the manosphere terms of red pill and blue pill. We already see how red pill rage is affecting a lot of guys. We already see how red pill rage is affecting a lot of guys. Are you naive to this? If you're not seeing it, I'm seeing it. Well, I'm already seeing how combination of red pill rage and misogyny has affected a lot of guys. And we're talking about guys, the manosphere only represents a small percentage of men worldwide. Put in simple terms, imagine if all men on earth became red pill wearers. You thinking about that? Then the way I'm thinking about that? Think about if all men were to become red pill wearers. Man, the word chaos and the word barbaric wouldn't even be the appropriate terms to use. I'll say this. Some of you all, and I even myself at times, tends to criticize the concept of a civilized society. But I'm saying emphatically, O'Shea Duke Jackson's favorite word he likes me to use, emphatically, you don't want to go back to the world when it was fucking barbaric. You don't want, most of y'all motherfuckers wouldn't be ready for that shit. So I'm saying in my own nice way, at least trying to maintain a monogamy-oriented social environment prevents a lot of chaos and violence that could erupt otherwise. If you feeling me on that. Women were afraid of unexpected pregnancies. That's what kept a lot of them in line. For you comparing women today versus women, say, 100 years ago. And that's why a lot of women didn't give in to their promiscuous tendencies. Along with that, just the fear of not getting married. That would ruin their reputation so that they wouldn't be able to get married. Back in the day, man, again, women didn't have the opportunities to earn their own money like they do now. Finding a husband was almost analogous or equivalent to finding a job. Back in the day, when you found a husband, you found finding a financial provider was like finding a job for most women. This is going to go over an hour. Now think about what happened between 1960 and 1974. Think about it. Think about it carefully. You introduce, among other birth control contraceptives and whatnot, birth control methods, you introduced the biggest one, the birth control pill, in 1960. What you said to women by introducing that, which, trust me, there were factions in society that didn't want the birth control. Man, the Catholic Church is still heavily against the use of birth control methods. There was a lot of people who were against promoting and endorsing and allowing birth control methods. Why, you think? Because when you introduced the birth control pill, you said to a lot of women, you are now free to fuck whoever you want to fuck without having to worry about the fear of an unexpected pregnancy. You're now free to fuck who you want to fuck. They legalized abortion. Took another fear off the shelf. Women with the second wave of feminism fought for more employment opportunities, higher salary earning opportunities. Now they have it. Another fear off the shelf. So now you break down to Alan Roger Currie, who some of y'all say he don't know what the fuck he talking about. You say to me, women ain't got the fear of an unexpected pregnancy. There's a lot of women who had babies out of wedlock who are still getting married, who still finding husbands. There's women who are promiscuous who are still finding husbands. If they do have babies out of wedlock and they don't find a husband, they're able to make their own money and they're able to financially support their own kids. And then even if they're poor, the United States government is going to support their kids. So you tell me, the guy who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, you tell me what's the motivation to keep a woman in line and to keep her from giving in to her promiscuous tendencies. What's the motivation? Please break that down for me. That's why I said in that video, women will never be the same as they were before the 1960s. We ain't never going back. Do you understand that? For you men who really want all women to be good girls and want them to just be strictly monogamy oriented, and I'm not saying there aren't any women out here. There's women with heavy duty doses of conservative and religious social programming that will probably keep them in line. That's another thing that keeps a lot of women in line, is the fear that they're going to go to hell if they allow themselves to be promiscuous. Why you think organized religion is big business, billion-dollar business? Shit. You better wake up to that. Shoot. That's part of how organized religion earns their money, is by administering social programming to women to keep them from giving in to their promiscuous and polyamorous tendencies, which I break down in the Beta Male Revolution. Wake the fuck up, fellas. Wake the fuck up, man. Women's default nature is to be promiscuous. Again, that's not saying that all women are promiscuous, just like I wouldn't say all human beings are murderous or violent, or all human beings are going to eat nothing but junk food. That's not the truth. Why do people eat healthy food? Because they know if they did eat nothing but junk food, that 9 times out of 10 they would gain weight or have some type of health-related ailment that would develop, like I did with type 2. Why do most people keep their violent tendencies in line? Because they know they'll go to jail or prison. If you as a human being have certain desires, certain biological inclinations, certain temptations you want to give into, you got to have something really forceful to keep you in line. Before the 1960s, women had those things. They had strong fathers in the household. There was ineffective birth control methods. Abortion was illegal. They weren't earning their own money, at least any significant amount of money. But now women got all kinds of birth control. Abortions legal. They can earn their own money. And in many instances, they can still find a husband with a promiscuous past and or with babies out of wedlock. So what the fuck is stopping them from being who the fuck they really want to be? You tell me, the motherfucker who don't know what he's talking about. You break it down to me. What the fuck is motivating a woman not to give into her true nature in the year 2018? As long as society continues to be civilized, which is not altogether a bad thing, but as long as society continues to be civilized, women are going to continue to give into their true nature. The only way we can reverse things, and I said this in one previous video, there's only one way you can reverse all this for those guys out there that want just about all women to go back to being good girls. We would have to go back to society where all birth control was eliminated. Birth control pill eliminated, morning after pill eliminated, condoms eliminated, everything. Birth control is eliminated. Abortion becomes illegal again. Women are not able to earn their own money. They got to depend on a male companion for financial assistance and support. And this was the one that raised a few eyebrows. I even had a female friend. She said she frowned her face hearing me say this. But the one more thing I would add on is to go back to the time where a man could literally beat the shit out of his wife, fiance, or girlfriend if he found out that she was cheating on him behind his back. Because there was a time when domestic violence wasn't particularly illegal. That's what we would have to go back to make women have motivation not to give into their true nature. Marinate on that, motherfuckers. Marinate on that.
Yes, sir.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Who's the king?
Alan, you're the king.
Say it again.
Alan, you're the king. You're dominating me.
Say it again.
Alan, you're dominating me right now. Mode 1.
Mode 1.
Daddy, can I go, please? You're the king.
Say it again.
Oh, you're the fucking king. Yes. Yes. Yes.
You're the king, Alan.
AKA the king of verbal seduction. You know, it's the tone of your voice, how seductive your intonations are, the vibrations that you could just reach out over the phone lines and stroke a woman's breast just by the sound of your voice, how you could make her pussy so wet just by the sound of your voice. That's actually very hot.
So you said my show was what?
I said your show is powerful.
Oh, say it again.
Your show is powerful.
I bet the king would fuck me really good.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie.
Oh, yeah. Who's the king?
Alan Roger Currie. The king.
The king.
The king.